I wish there was a quick and easy way to add an embellishment to a page and get it done spit spot. Oh wait, there is. We can punch some borders, and I'm going to show you how. Hello, scrapbookers and creative friends. I'm Linda Petuch. I'm a Creative Memories Independent Advisor in Jupiter, Florida. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Now today, I'm aiming this a little bit more toward beginning scrapbookers who are just having trouble feeling like maybe they're not creative, but they want to add some decoration to pages. And the simplest way I know is to add a border. And that's what I'm going to show you is how I decide how to make my borders. And I'm going to show you a lot of examples, just simple ones. So it depends what punches you have. Now you can always buy pre-made borders, but if you have punches and you have the paper and you have the time, I'm going to share with you the process that I go through to decide how I'm going to put the different punches together and what I'm going to use to decorate my pages. So let's get started. Now, as promised in a couple videos ago, I forgot about this Wave Crest chain border maker cartridge that came out that's new, and I also didn't use this Bridge and Trees punch. So I want to give you just a couple of examples using those as well. But to start off, I will tell you that what I do when I'm creating my pages, I really base my borders on the theme or the colors or a combination of the two. But let me just show you this Bridges and Trees punch. Now, this is the border that I made with that. I punched the bridges and borders. It's an edge punch, so it doesn't fall off. It stays on there. It has this beautiful little curvy edge. And I punched it a second time. I punched it first in green. Then I punched it in brown so that I could just fussy cut those little bridges off of there and could add those to it. This is this is not this wave punch, but I thought you don't want like high waves or anything on here. So I use the River Waves standalone punch, a border punch, Creative Memories, and that's what I added here. So I just put that on top. But so these go together, and that's what I'm talking about. Whatever 2 or 3 punches I combine, I look at them and what would go together, what would complement each other. So that's what I did with this. This is very simple. Now, after you punch it with the other colors, if you have a space and you have the interest in keeping some of these, you can always use the pieces that you didn't use here, the brown ones. You can always use it for something else. For instance, this is my the park bench one I'm going to show you later. I didn't need these green park benches for the page that I was doing, but I might need them for another page. So I have these little containers that I got on Amazon, and this is what I keep them in. Okay, so this is the Bridges and Trees punches. You know, you can always add more detail. You could do it with a pen, or you could punch some other greens if you wanted to add more detail. But if we want to do quick and easy, add a beautiful embellishment, I mean, you can see how just adding that to a light or a dark page, that just adds enough, gives you lots of space for your photos. So think about your theme and think about the colors. Now, the other border that I wanted to share with you, or the other border maker cartridge that I wanted to share with you, is this Wave Crest chain. And when I think of the Wave Crest chain, I think more ocean. So I decided to couple that with our little dolphin, which is also an edge punch. So look at, this is what I came up with. So here we have it. This is navy. I punched the dolphins out of navy, and then this is another blue paper that had like kind of modeled blue, and that's what I put for the base. But these go really nicely together. I think it's a great combination. And on this one, you know, on the dolphin punch, when you punch it out, the confetti is actually the little dolphins. So which, you know, I punch them in different colors, and then I keep them because, you know, you just never know. Like, I love to cut them out of the platinum, and makes really pretty little dolphins. So on this one, I just left it open and I let the blue come through. But on this one, you know, you can take a plain piece of baby blue cardstock, add a border, and you have a story to tell. So here I cut both of these out of the same blue cardstock, both the wave and then the dolphin, but I had already punched the dolphin out of this island shimmer. I think it's tropical shimmer, but in any case, it's a shimmery a shimmery paper, which I think looks really nice with the dolphins. So then I just put them back in. If you don't have time to do that, the blue is going to show through like it did on here. But in any case, these go well together. They go together with the theme. You put that on there and you've got a page ready to share photos of a day at the beach or out on the boat. Okay, so now let's look at some others. I did leave the punches out, and that is selfishly for me so that I can look at the names and remember. So let me get my next ones. So here are two simple examples. I'm thinking back to school. So here we have a notebook, and this is the notebook edge, and what I added to it were scissors, the border scissors. And this is something that's really lovely. You can use for a vertical punch or as a horizontal punch. Very thematically goes nicely together. Could, if it's not back to school, could be for crafting. And then on this one, I combined two Border Maker cartridges, the people feet and the puppy feet. Walking the dog, whether you're barefooted at the beach or whatever. I just think it's a lovely thing. And then you have, again, this looks very nice vertical, but it could be horizontal. You could have them go in different directions. You could go across the base of a page. So there's some others, again, thematically connected. Now, I am a gardener, and I do love little mushrooms or toadstools and gnomes, and I think that's a lovely combination together. So that's what I did on this one. I put a green cardstock base, I punched the gnomes, and I punched the mushrooms. Now, I didn't take it a step farther with the gnomes, but you can. If you punch them in different colors, then you can go back and you can add in, I don't want to do the same color. You can add in a lighter color beard or a darker color beard. You can punch out you can use that confetti and put it back in and add the picture. But again, if we're talking about quickly adding borders, you may not want to do that. But gnomes and mushrooms would just be wonderful for a garden page or an outdoor activity. Okay, on this one, I'll show you how I took this plain blue paper, and by punching the zebra stripes, this is the Zebra Stripes Border Maker cartridge, and then I cut off one end of it so it looked like a fringe. I did the zebra stripes, and then this is the barbed wire, and I thought that made a really good combination together. If you wanted to have a photo layout for your horses or horseback riding, or visit to a horseback riding event, and so forth, because you have a blanket for the horses and you have the barbed wire on the fence so they stay in and stay safe. And that's a really nice combo together. And all I did here is I punched the borders 4 times, but then I just folded them over and put them here. And that way it frames your entire page just by adding the borders. Okay, I did add embellishments because I had them. This is a little punched horse, and I punched it, put it on foam squares on top of this little mandala embellishment there. But even without that, that's a really lovely way. Add a border to your page to dress it up. Now there's my little horse, and I added the tractor. And then this is actually the train track, but I think it makes a really fun, the train track makes a really fun fence. So I want you to see that you can take a plain piece of paper like this. It's like out in the field, out in the plains, or you could use this side, but I kind of designed it for this side. So here we're out in the field, and I punched one horse, and I adhered it behind the railroad track fence. And then the tractor, I just punched that out, and I added a couple little dots to demarcate the the wheels. And then rather than put it at the base, I thought it kind of looked fun where you see the sky up here. Here's the sky. This is an old Meadow collection, but any scenic paper that might have that, or you could always put a strip of blue up at the top. But look at how that just sets the tone. You got the horse on the other side of the fence, and then you got the tractor here getting ready to go through this field and cut down the hay or whatever that is, the grass that's growing, unless you're just going to let the horses graze. But in any case, look at, by adding that one little border, what a difference it makes, and leaves all that space for your photos. Now I was so happy when we got this little chicken coop punch. So I have the chicken coop punch, and I also have this rustic truck that was from, I think, Oktoberfest not last year, but I think those would go beautifully together. And so what I did was I cut the or punched the chicken coops on out of brown cardstock, out of a light brown. I call that gingerbread brown. I don't know what the real color is, but to me it's gingerbread brown. And then I punched the truck out of this kind of dark green. And it's a very cute border, and you see it looks great on a white page. That would be nice. But you could also add it to another scenic kind of page that's about being out in the plains or on a farm, and you can add your little border there, and then you have a place to put your photographs. You know, the thing is, once you make the border, whether you use light paper, dark paper, just plain paper, and add your photos, or if you want to dress up a little designer paper, anyway, it's very flexible, but very fast and easy to do. Punch, punch, and then I did use the repositionable trimmer on most of these because of all the little holes in there. So if you haven't used repositionable trimmer, you need to invest in that. So I have this beautiful paper, and I wanted to use another kind of a farm or prairie feel to it. So I got out my wheat punch, which had come back for a while. I don't know if it's still available, but I love that little wheat punch. And then I decided to use the picket fence. And the reason I chose the picket fence is that on this barn, it has like a picket fence. It is smaller, but you know, if you look on the back, how I showed you how to do that, you look on the back, they are going to kind of go together. So I got a little tricky with it. I only wanted one barn. So I only punched one barn, but then I punched picket fence for the rest. Let me show you how that turned out. It was supposed to be a big reveal. And here it is. Voila. There it is. So this one, you see, took that plain piece of paper and we dressed it up. So I punched, you know, on the Border Maker cartridge system, there are 6 punches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I did 1, 2 with the picket fence, then I did 1 of the barns, and then I did the 3 more picket fence. And I think that looks really nice together. It gets the same idea. The barn could kind of be in the distance, a little perspective going on there. And then I punched the wheat out of a designer paper. I think this was totally tonal from the yellow green pack. And I just made the wheat there. But it's just a little touch, one little border on that page is truly all you need. And then you have lots of room for your photographs. Okay, I'm going to stay with plants for right now. And we have this Border Maker cartridge, the watering cans that came out in spring for National Scrapbook Day. And then also, excuse me, there's flower pots. And I thought if you're going to have 2 strips of border, these 2 really complement each other because you've got the plants here and then you have the watering cans that go with it. So I created this border, and it's on a lavender paper. And then I just used 2 different shades of purple to do the watering cans, which is an edge punch also, and so is this. So is the flower pot. So I just cut it off. Maybe it isn't. Maybe that one drops away. But in any case, I thought it would be a really lovely thing to add to another piece of designer paper, another shade of purple. This is purple for sure. Purple is my favorite color for flowers in the garden. So yeah, so I thought that would be really nice. Very simple. Watering cans and plants. You see how those go together thematically. Now, keeping with our outdoor theme, I have the Tents and Trees Border Maker cartridge, and I also thought that the rolling bikes would be a nice combo with that. You know, you're going to be out off the grid, and your mode of transportation, you're out camping, your mode of transportation is going to be your bicycles that you packed with you, and I thought that really goes nicely together. The Tents and Trees has a slightly rolling edge, and so does the bicycles, so they complement each other that way, as well as being thematic, but also the shape of them is very nice together. And you know, you can add that, you know, to a wilderness piece of paper. This is from Deeper in the Woods. You could add that there. Or if you want to just be graphic about it, you could add it to that. But you see, by adding one little border, it changes the whole paper. Okay, when I was combining borders that worked well together, how could I not do our different parks? Of course, the grassland is one of my favorite. I use all the time. That came back again. And this is park. That has the park bench, those benches I showed you earlier. And then this is the little playground. So I decided to make some borders out of those. I did keep the playground and the park separate, though you could use them on a double page if you wanted to do that. But so for the playground, I decided that I would punch this with an orange, put it on kind of a burnt orange paper, and then added the grass. You could do them all with the same color and add the park next to it, but I decided to keep the playground separate. And then here is the park. Now the park I did punch a couple of times. I punched it in my gingerbread brown, and then I also punched it in the green, and then just fussy cut the trees and the bushes so that they would go, and then punch the grassland in the same color green. That goes really well together. But you know, it looks wonderful just on the plain paper. But again, you could always add this. You know, if you're out in the park and you're looking at the wildflowers, or if you're out, not at the playground, but at just the park, you've got the different flowers in the distance, or you could use another one of these and just add a little touch to it. Same thing here. But you see, by combining the themes, then it all ties it together. So while we're outside, I just have to share these with you. These are some that I've had from former videos. You've probably seen them. But this is the branch punch, which I punched twice, and then the little birds. And instead of, I think they're maybe called blackbirds. I'm not sure where. I know I have it over here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here's the branch. Okay. And here's the branch one, and then this one is called, just called birds. Okay, it can be any color you want, but a lot of times I use blackbirds. But anyway, I punched them with red. This was before we had a cardinal punch, so it punches with red, and then I added a little bit of the evergreen, spiky evergreen, and a couple of the pine cones. But then you also, using that same punch, you can also make, like this would be for a double page or both sides of a page. And I just cut the cardinals and the birds from this punch and added them. It doesn't take a lot of talent or a lot of work, but it certainly has a beautiful effect. Okay, here's some more with the blackbirds and the branch. Move up these. And then this very much for autumn. I did that, but you know, you're thinking thematically. This one I did for the harvest moon. I had that for harvest moon, and so that's why I did that. This was a little more Christmassy, so you got some seasonal things. This could just be for springtime, summer, anytime, because it's just the sky blue background, which is baby blue. And there you go. So two of my favorite punches that I like to use for any patriotic holiday is the flag banner. I love the banner punch. And then also this is the fireworks. But there's a very simple way that you can combine. You know, I punched them in different colors, of course. You can't see it on white and white. Right, but you can punch those out. But then I thought it would be fun to embellish it with the fireworks. And this is what I did. So you see how that punch one border, add a few fireworks, and rule of thumb is you do 3 or 5 to the odd numbers. Make it a little bit more interesting than making it absolutely symmetrical. You do it however you want to, but I know that to me it feels nice when it's an odd number. But anyway, that was a great, very simple combo just by punching one banner and 5 little fireworks. Now you may have seen this before. I used the roller coaster and the fairgrounds and the postage stamp. Is that the right one? That's not the right one. It's not postage stamp. It's the ticket one with the tickets. I'll show you what they look like here. And I'll see. You don't really actually need to see the punch, but I'll try to find the punch. Anyway, okay, so what I did was I used the ticket to make a border at the top because this is all about a park. So we have the tickets at the top and at the bottom on this page, and then this page would go with it because we've got the fairgrounds here and the roller coasters and the fairgrounds down here. These pages could be separate, but it looks really nice together. And on the tickets, I just added sticker letters, a few little embellishments there, a couple of little banners, and you see how, again, I did the trio of that's our same fireworks punch. But it makes it really fun because these definitely generically go together because they are thematic and they're also in the same color tones. Here's that admission ticket. It's a really fun punch because it makes a really nice space to put titles on there too. So that's the admission ticket. Now, birthday celebration. This is one of my favorite combos. Okay, you've got the cakes and the cupcakes, and then you've got photos you'll be taking and for someone you love. Look at that, very simple combo together, but there we have it. Double page, single page. You have, I mean, this says it all. You're celebrating somebody, you're taking pictures, and you love them. Thematically, beautiful together, and very simple and quick to do. Okay, while we're celebrating, let's talk about refreshments. So this is, I don't believe this is available at all anymore. It's called the Fringe Punch, and it's a little tricky. I will say it's a little fussy to punch, but it makes a really cute fringe. To me, it looks like a fringed tablecloth, so I like to use that for my setting. And then I use the Border Maker cartridge here that is the wine chain, and added double rows of the wine chain, and then also this tableware, which they call Dine. And I think that's a lovely combo together because your table is set and your page is set for your photos. Here's another variation, and this is with Dine, and this is the Dine again, but also with this one, which is Morning Brew, it's called. So it would be like iced coffee, but to me, it could be any beverage that you're having. And again, the table is set and your drinks are there, and let's celebrate. Now, the last one I'm going to share with you are two Border Maker cartridges. This one is called Bridge, and this one is called a Rope Chain. Okay, so the rope chain, you know, is going to fall off, and the bridge is an edge punch. But I just want to show you, to me, this is a primo example of how you can take two simple punches and make a very effective little border that doesn't take up a lot of space, so it still leaves you lots of room for your photos, but it does a nice embellishment. Now, you could put it on a white page, but look nice on a dark page. We want to do kind of like a sky blue. Look how it takes that sky blue, dresses it up. But you could also use it on designer paper that has some fish on it, or some very colorful fish on it. But what a nice touch to add to your page and still leave lots of space for your photographs. Quick and easy embellishment with your borders. Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope this gave you some good ideas how to combine different borders to make a simple, elegant, lovely, cute little border to finish your page. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below. If you would like to check out my website, Linda's Scrapbooking Station, I have a lot of these pre-made borders, and I'm going to be working on making kits. So if you're not a seasoned scrapbooker, if you're a beginning scrapbooker, this would be a great way for you to get started. But if you know somebody who wants to get started, you could also gift them one of these kits so that way they can get started, get some pages and borders, and they can get their photos down. I think it's a great thing. We want to preserve those memories. That's number one. So until next time, happy scrapbooking.